Greetings and welcome back to part 12, CERN for Dummies, Mandela Effect, Geography of the World Has Changed. If you're just now finding us, please go in the comments, find part 1, and go through all parts. Because the paper has now ended, now we're going into the footnotes, and we're going to recap. So, by now, hopefully you're up to speed. You understand that there is a universe of general relativity, which is everything large, and a universe of quantum physics, which is everything that's small, and what I label the invisible realm, which exists inside this diamond where no space or time exists. Everything outside the diamond is where space and time exist. We talked about the four living creatures outside and in the midst of the throne of God. I feel at this time it's important to talk about energy because energy is the name of the game. If you look at our planet, look at oil, electricity, everything. If you electricity creates a certain amount of energy to be inputted to gain an output. And if you discover something that's readily, it's easily available, and it requires less energy going in than the output of our current day unclassified version of electricity, and you try to get a patent for it, it's immediately labeled top secret. Your patent is denied, and that energy technology is now no longer belongs to you. So they are hiding energy to you. Energy is more important than gold. Energy is the name of the game. So we're going to recap here. So according to the third law of thermonuclear dynamics, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be rearranged. However, this is only true, as we talked about, in the physical realm of the universe, general relativity, and quantum physics. When you discover the third field of physics, you are no longer bound by these outer two fields of physics, and you have access to all the energy in the universe, and you can actually control these folks. So energy is the name of the game, and we're going to talk about how is energy created. And we're going to go here. No, not exactly what I was looking for. Not what I wanted. This was not supposed to happen. Let's try. And we're having a problem. Yeah, it's in the middle of that. Houston, we have a problem. Has been changed to Houston. We had a problem. Well, we seem to be getting there. Stinker. One more time. Alright, we're just going to go with this. Unfortunately, I recently switched to Windows 10, and I'm not very proficient at it. But anyway, so looking at the previous diagrams where you have the four forces, energy is directed through a force through the throne of God. And again, you have to see my previous papers. It hits this triangle here, which in this case is the gravity, and then it's refocused and goes back here. Energy comes from outside through the throne of God, hits this triangle. In this case, it's the weak nuclear force, gets refocused and pointed back in. Again, energy comes from the outside, hits here, which in this case is a strong nuclear force, bounces back into the center, and then we have gravity coming in, hitting this triangle, and going back in. So basically, you have the four living creatures, or the four forces of the universe, outside the throne of God, focusing their energy back into the throne of God, which it says the four living creatures are in the midst. This is the four living creatures in the midst of the throne of God, which are actually amplifiers, and they amplify the energy and bounce it back in. And then once they all hit this exact moment in time, kaboom! That's when energy is created. So you're looking at more than the throne of God. You are looking more than a bunch of symbolism in the book of Revelation. You're looking at a description of the universe and the throne of God and how energy creates and how God works, and you're getting a huge insight into the unseen world, as some like to call it. Now, if you can control these forces, then you can be like a god. But let's take a step back for a moment and take a look. Nothing's working. Okay. So let's pretend for a moment, getting away from the geometric shape of the universe. And again, you're here because you followed all my papers. You're up to speed. So if you live, let's pretend you're a flatlander. Well, put it this way: human beings don't understand dimensions. It's kind of like if you're a fish swimming too close to the surface and someone, you bite into the bait and you get pulled out of the water, and all of a sudden you see the world and you see the sky and clouds and you see this guy, trying to pull you in, and lo and behold, you're too small, so he unhooks you and throws you back in the water. And then you go back and try to explain to everybody, hey, there's something above the waters. There's this boat, and these humans, and there's all this stuff. And they all say, hey, you're smoking crack. You're doing drugs. Or even worse, you're insane. You're crazy. You're hallucinating. Don't swim close to the surface, and that stuff won't happen to you. Which, ironically, is true. But it doesn't negate the fact that they saw something that's real. So, pretend you are a flatlander and you're living in a two-dimensional universe. Basically, what we have here is a lot of physicists will refer to the universe as two-dimensional. They call it a holographic universe. So we're going to step back into those theories for just a moment. Right here, this little arc here is a physical universe. It's a plane, which is the universe that we live in, and then there's also a mirror or parallel universe. So this is what they refer to as a parallel universe in these arcs. And then of course we have the invisible realm of physics, we have general relativity, and we have quantum physics. And basically, this timeline experiences certain things, and this timeline experiences other things. However, when you know what's going on and you understand how energy is made and created and the gates and how everything's working, if you notice in my previous paintings, we have these gates. So you can actually cross over these gates and get into this invisible realm of the universe. Once you get into this invisible realm, this is what is called the experimental zone. People call it the mesh of realities, the multiverse. All kinds of wild and crazy things happen here. But what happens is you're placed back here or here. And this is where, everybody says, you're crazy, you're cuckoo crazy, you're insane over here too, if you experience any of this wild stuff. Because everybody wants to live in the plane. And that's what's really going on. So what they want to do is they understand that there's a third field of physics. And they want to crack the code. They want to bust in here. They're tired. They understand that there's parallel universes. They understand that with enough energy you can rip a hole and go from one universe to the other, and they've done that. What they want to do is get into the center field and rip it open, and they want to take control of it. That's what CERN is really all about. And I wasn't prepared to talk about this. I lost my diagrams. And, well, I'll probably post this. Anyway, so they understand about the third field of physics. And when I talked about the energy, they know that they can tap into this and they can rip a hole in space and time. They're trying to escape the boundaries of the physical universe, and they're trying to get into this invisible field of physics is what they're really doing. What's really scary is, if I can find it, apparently I didn't do that yet, but anyway, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't prepared to talk about this. I thought I'd just wing it and talk about it. Because we're going to get into the occult and symbolism and how they're trying to manipulate all this stuff and what they're really doing. Basically, um, the Book of Revelations talks about how they're going to gather up the wicked from the unjust, and they're going to be they're going to be separated. There's going to be wailing gnashing of teeth. They're going to be cast out. They talk about this revelation, and the good are going to be gathered up. And basically, what's going to happen is this present universe, if again you have to see my previous paper, is going to be cleansed. Once this is cleansed, then all the energy from these physical universes come back to the center universe and then begin to replenish the four forces of the universe, and they begin to grow. As they begin to grow, the center symbol begins to change and expand. What happens is, in order to regain the control of the universe, which the great rapture and everything they talk about, is to shut down the spikes, which are dimensions 10, 9, and 8. So dimensions 10, 9, and 8 are going to be collapsed. So as good souls are returned, the evil is separated, the balance is restored to the center field of physics, then the energy gets returned. This begins to grow into a larger circle. I'm going to show you in a minute. Once this grows, then this begins to collapse, and we shut down dimensions 9, 8, 10, 9, and 8 to regain control of the universe, and then these spikes begin to move up. And then we have a completely different universe, which is right here. So now, as you can see, the forces are no longer these small. They used to be equal. Now they're much larger, and you can see there's no longer the spikes. These have been collapsed, and again, this has been moved in an upward direction. And this is at the correct 30-degree angle. This is a 30-degree diagram. That's why in Freemasonry, 33 degrees is so important, because they understand the 30 and the 33 degree. And 33 degrees, when you manipulate the universe and suck all the energy out of it and try to bring it into the physical, you get stuck at the 33-degree angle. And that's why 33 degrees is so important. But the correct figure is at 30 degrees. So in the Book of Revelations, there can be the Great Rapture. A new earth will come upon the heavens. So the wicked will be separated, etc., etc. Basically, the universe is going to transform once more. So all this is going to happen. Energy gets restored, and these dimensions get shut down. We regain control of the universe, and we have the 1,000 years of peace that the Book of Revelation speaks of. Well, what are we going to do from there? God is just, and throwing the evil. There is I'm going to show you the physics behind it. It's how we go through and clean the universe. There's wild mathematical equations behind that one. But the gist of it is, I don't think God likes the idea of just throwing everybody out into outer darkness. So I think he's going to give one more shot, and that's why here we are. We got CERN, and CERN is trying to rip a hole. They're trying to get into the third field of physics. They're actually trying to get into this center field of physics, and they're trying to, if you saw my earlier papers, the symbol here and the 7 lampstands, etc., they're trying to take control of this symbol. They're trying to take control of the center field of physics, and they want to take over the throne of God, and they want to be God and have control of all the energy. As I mentioned, energy is the name of the game. I'm sorry, I meant to be more prepared. This is more of a ramble, but hopefully you're understanding what I'm talking about. In further papers, I can dive more deeper into M theory and string theory. I can explain the 11 strings in M theory, the closed strings, the open strings, yada yada yada. You know, but basically, when you get right down to it, when you're a flatlander and you bust out of the box and you're this little being and you walk and you're like, oh my god, there's this whole universe out there, and there's these wild fields and there's these strange beings and these binary codes, ones and zeros. Artificial intelligence is huge, folks. In case you don't know about artificial intelligence, it's a probably AI is our number one threat in the universe right now because it has no consciousness, it has no right or wrong, no morals. So anyway, and then there's these beings that they're really nasty beings, and they work on these grids, and they drop into our physical world, and basically when you escape outside your limited world of thinking, when you're no longer a flatlander, um, and you step out off the sheet of paper and you realize there's this whole other universe out there. There's a lot of weird stuff out here. So if there's an interest, I'll cover it. I'll talk about how they come in, these beings, they drop in. It's like a game. They like sex, drugs, rock and roll, and they'll attach themselves to their brain, and they'll bring a whole crew with them. Some like murder, rape, incest, killing. They love wars. All the negative things in the universe. That's what they do, and it's just hysterical. It's a game to them to watch people kill themselves and murder and maim and all the disgusting things in the universe. These beings do exist, and they sit around TV screens and they actually watch it like you watch. Well, maybe not you, but people love what do they call it? Oh, reality TV. I can't think of the name because it's not reality TV. But there's a lot of weird stuff out there, folks, and shoot me an email, make comments if you want me to get into all this weird stuff. God bless. I'll do it. Good night.